So this is my final project, and it's a boiling water detector. So we have a electric heating element with a pot of cold water on there right now, and then I have the sensor board clipped here, so it's kind of upside down but hovering just above the pot, taking temperature and humidity readings. So if you go over here, I have a sketch code that's uploaded to the board, and all the data is being streamed directly into MATLAB for processing and pattern recognition. So I will start the system. Well, first I'll turn on the stove to high. Starts the heating process, and then I will start the program. And so now, down in the command window, after each sample, it'll give a reading of temperature at the top, humidity at the bottom, and then its classification based on the training data set that I input to a naive Bayes classifier earlier. And this will keep going until it thinks that it has detected a boiling state. So we'll come over here and fast forward the video until this is achieved. So now while we wait around and literally watch water boiling, it was initially my idea to incorporate the microphone sensor on top of temperature and humidity, just to make the system a bit more complex. And doing some research, I found that the frequency of a boiling water sound is usually between 400 and 600 hertz. So the idea was to have, for each temperature and humidity sample taken, to also take 10,000 microphone readings and to run that through a Fourier transform to generate a frequency plot, and then try to apply a bandpass filter and try to identify any spikes between 400 and 600 hertz, just to make it a bit more complex and another layer to help determine whether or not the water was boiling. But unfortunately, after a lot of testing on the microphone, I discovered that the hardware was likely damaged, and it wasn't picking up any sound no matter what. Even yelling directly into the microphone wasn't producing a response, so unfortunately I had to cut that out. So we can take a look at what's going on here, but you can see that the humidity's been more or less constant since we started it, but the temperature has risen by 1.5 degrees or 2 degrees, I think 1.5 degrees. So we'll just keep letting this run. I should also mention that this system does seem to have a lot of false positives, where it sometimes thinks the water's already boiling when it's not, and that could happen because of, well, I think it happens because of small drafts in the house that blow the steam being produced directly into the sensor, causing a huge spike in the reading. And so, but often, you know, the next couple samples will then go back to heating rather than boiling. And so what I did was I made a requirement that after each sample collected, it checks through the previous 20 samples, and the only way that it decides for sure that it thinks the water is boiling is if the previous 20 samples all agree, the previous 19 rather, if the previous 19 samples all agree with its prediction. So the water is just starting to come to a small boil right now, so we should expect in the next short time period that the alarm whale sound. And there we go. It has detected that the water has reached a boiling state.